Redline oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
Redline oil, formulated to win.
Formulated to win.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Proven by me.
Proven by me.
Redline oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod driveline components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey everybody, Happy New Year. WFO Radio is back for 2026. Super excited. NHRA Nitro. We are starting off strong. We have got our Lucas Oil Top Alcohol Funny Car World Champion, Sean Bellemeur, in the ready room, queued up. We're going to talk about his 5th championship season, 5 and 8 years. I think that is a big stat right there. We're going to talk about the 2026 season, all the different rules, options, changes, options in the top alcohol categories, all of that. We're going to get into all of it. I wish you a very happy new year, but you know, it's the 6th, right? Like this is probably the last happy new year you're going to get as we are off and running in the WFO universe. If you're new to the show, if you're seeing the show for the very first time, I welcome you. If you like drag racing, NHRA drag racing in particular, the Sportsman brand and the Lucas Oil series, or the Mission Foods series, we do a lot of coverage. We do a show every week, sometimes multiple. We interview the winning drivers, the stories, and as we get closer to the start of the 75th anniversary season of NHRA drag racing, my goal is to have heard from all of the Lucas Oil champs and all of the Mission Food Series champs. We're going to watch that Vice show together. It's going to be a lot of fun. So hopefully you will click subscribe, click the bell if you're watching on YouTube, if you're on X, repost, and help us grow this show as WFO enters its, however many years we are. I think it's, 20. I don't know. It's a long time. It's a long time. Now, we are getting started in 2026, and I do want to welcome some new sponsors. We'll be telling you about these fine folks over the course of the season, and I just want to check them here at the start. We'll go in depth a little bit later, but welcome to the Larice family and Larice Motorsports Insurance. I am not only talking about them, but I'm also a customer. Remember, like Robert Kraft and the guy with the Remington microscreen? I am also a customer. It is very important to have your racing gear insured, guys. And the folks at Larice have created a product that goes far and above so many of the others. We're going to be telling you about some of the exemptions that, like if you got race fuel in your trailer, are you covered? At Larice, you are. We're going to talk about all of that stuff. LariceMotorsportsInsurance.com. Welcome, Larice family, and thank you guys for supporting WFO. Of course, our great friends at Total Seal, Hidden Horsepower episodes, getting ready to drop Pat Musey this weekend. Pat Musey breaking all kinds of news, some real sick stuff that Pat's going to be talking about. Be sure to go on to Hidden Horsepower podcast on the YouTube channel, but it's really an exercise in letting you know about which rings you should get. That should be pretty obvious. Our great friends, the Latino family at Jesse, Global Emission Systems Incorporated, Catalytic Converters, the G Sport brand, also the DPF X Fit brand for over-the-road trucks. It's bolt-in direct factory replacement. You already heard about our great friends at FTI Performance and Redline. We're going to tell you about them throughout the season. Our friends at HusseyPerformance.net. Super excited to have David Allen and the team and the fam back. Our friends Frank Hawley, of course, Bernie Speed Shop, everybody who supports WFO Radio. If you don't have a can of Foggett in your trailer, I don't know what you're doing. Very helpful spray invented by Gary Stinnett, promoted out there by Steve Williams. Appreciate all those guys. And happy birthday to Marvin Rodak, Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. We'll go in depth a little bit later on in the show, but right now, I ask you all, if you're a fan of the Alky cars, this is where where the rubber meets the road this year. If you're a fan of the Alky cars, repost this interview, share it right now, because it's time to speak with the champ, the 5-time world champion, Sean Bellemeur. Sean, welcome to WFO Radio. Happy New Year, sir. How are you?
Yeah, Happy New Year, Joe. It's good. I'm glad to talk racing again. It feels like it's been, it's one of those deals you love the break, but God, it's time to go racing. I'm antsy. I'm excited. And let's talk some top alcohol.
Top alcohol, 5 world championships in 8 years. I remember being there for your first cowboy hat, and you've got many more since then. Did you ever think that you would go on such a torrent of victories and championships?
Well, I mean, there was never a doubt that the team could do it. I just didn't want to be the weak link. What I've learned over this time is that it takes the whole army, and it takes every component to be successful at the level that the top alcohol classes are at now. And starting with Tony and Steve Boggs and the whole team, the Killer Bees, it takes all of it. It takes the money, it takes the time, it takes the resources. And, Steve and I have developed a friendship that, over and above the professionalism of the racing itself, we challenge each other. We have a lot of fun together. We talk constantly, and it's one of those things to where his tuning is real conducive to my driving style and vice versa. And so, I remember multiple times throughout the year, we'd run really well or run low AT or whatever, and I'd come back to the trailer, I'd download the computer, I'd look at Steve and go, man, that's a little disappointing. We're only 400ths in front of everybody, Steve. He'd smile and just you better hold on, kid. And I love the fact that he still calls me kid. He's about the only one in the world that does, with all my gray hair on my face. But and I'll go out and drive pretty well, and he'll come back and say, I need 2-3 more hundredths out of you, a reaction time there, because apparently I can't tune. And so we have a good time together. So the team has always been there with right down to our car chief, Troy Green, and everybody else involved with this team. I mean, it's an all-star cast. And so, like I said, Joe, I've never doubted the team's capability. I mean, Tony, he breeds champions, and look at the success he's had in such a short period of time on the road racing stuff. So he knows what it takes to be a world champion. It all starts with him, and the team that he has developed over time is just awesome. It's a dream to be a part of.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's cool to have a team like that in top alcohol funny car, one of my favorite categories. I say it all the time. I love the experience of being on the starting line. One of the best things that I get to do is, as I'm getting ready for the parade of champions at the NHRA, I'm down there kind of starting line adjacent. And we've got the stage, and our Lucas Oil winners are all queuing up. They just won Super Gas or Super Stock or Comp. And that's when you guys will run a final. And so I get to be like next to the starting line sometimes, hearing you guys wind them up. And not all the cars do that just yet. And I know there's some discussion of some rules changes. We'll talk about that. But that experience is just is awesome. I love the Alki funny cars, thinking about Manzo and Newberry and Brad Anderson. And you guys are the pinnacle right now. Everyone is saying congratulations in the chat, by the way. I just want to acknowledge those folks. Pros Pro, Dave Miller, Nitro Dave. Steve Boggs is very smart. Understatement. Understatement. Congratulations on your championship. But let's go with that, because Boggs is going into the International Drag Racing Hall of Fame. I had like top 5 moment for me of all year last year was you meeting Ron Tobler in Vegas, first time face-to-face. Couple of guys going to go into the Hall of Fame. Boggs, Tobler, coming up this March before the Gator Nationals. That was amazing to see, and it was all like adoration and admiration for Steve Boggs. Like he doesn't get enough coverage, doesn't get enough time and love, and let's do that a little bit right now. Go in a little more in depth about this man and what he has done for you, for the sport.
Between Tony and Steve, I owe them everything when it comes to, my personal success in top alcohol funny car and beyond. First of all, Steve is just an incredibly interesting person. He is insanely competitive. He is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, despite what the NHRA tech department will think. But he will take the time to sit down and talk with anybody about anything. He will discuss rules or tune-up or any engine combination out there. That's one of the things that a lot of people I think may have forgotten about is, we did this with 2 engine combinations last year, and Steve basically dominated both. And so I love the competitor he is. To see the fire that he still has to do this at 82 years old, and to see his finally getting that recognition he deserves to be inducted into the International Drag Racing Hall of Fame. Nobody deserves it more, in my opinion. But, and that's one thing when, like you're talking about when I met Tobler, the hardcore tuners within the sport of drag racing at any level, every one of them knows Steve Boggs. Every one of them knows capability. And it's really cool when we'll be at a race somewhere. I remember specifically at Indy last year, and Frank Manzo walks in the pit. And, hey, Frank, how's it going? And he had no time to talk to me because he was on the hunt for Steve Boggs because he had a question. And I thought, Frank Manzo's got a question for Steve Boggs. That's like the top of Mount Rushmore right there, asking for Steve Boggs's opinion. And so listening to Frank and Steve talk is just awesome. But, Steve's a hell of a competitor, and he is a great teacher, a mentor. He's a father figure in a lot of respects. And boy, he's a tough old SOB. And I'm glad he's wearing the same shirt I am when he gets pissed off. And, once again, we love challenging each other. We have a great time with it. And, we have our own little code communication between the two of us at times. And I'm glad he's happy and healthy and wanting to keep going, because he's the main reason that I keep at it so hard, because he's just awesome. There's no other way to put it. He's just, the term GOAT gets thrown around a lot. He is the GOAT.
No, I'm excited about it. And the more we get to see, you're right. He's like coming into the spotlight. There's more shows, there's more coverage, there's more outside of drag racing. We need to focus on Steve. 82. He's doing cool things for older people too, showing that if you have a passion, you don't have to retire, you don't have to stop. You can continue to be successful. You can continue to dominate the competition for as long as you can. And at 82 years old, it's really amazing. So what's this International Drag Racing Hall of Fame ceremony going to be like? Just a sidebar on that, because I think it's going to be kind of raucous. I hear you guys got a couple of tables, and we're going to have a good time. What do you think?
Well, again, anybody that's been involved with Steve for any amount of time at all and has befriended him knows what, first of all, this is overdue. And so very, very happy to celebrate the man that deserves it maybe more than anyone else. And so, yeah, it's going to be a damn good time. And Steve's wife, Cheryl's coming down. And I'll tell you what, if anybody can get a party going, it's Cheryl. One of our crew guys, Nick Stoms, got married this past year, and Cheryl and Steve outdanced everybody at the wedding. So I think it's going to be a real good time. Steve's got a lot of family coming down, and of course the whole Bartone team will be there cheering him on. And hearing some of Steve's stories and discussing a lot of this with him and going over some of his history racing with his brother and everybody in between, it has really been a fun adventure for me personally, loving the history of the sport. And a lot of the people who are kind of earmarked through his career in drag racing will be in attendance at the Hall of Fame. So it'll be a darn good time. And I was talking to him on the phone yesterday. I said, "Hey, Steve, don't forget we got a qualifying run that day." So I said, "Don't be getting drunk in the morning, buddy." I said, "I need you at least until after the qualifying run." And he said, "Well, I might have to have a couple to get up and talk in front of that many people." So no, it'll be a good time. And the one piece of advice I gave to Steve was that just go up and tell some of your old racing stories. I said, because that's what everybody loves to hear, and that's what got you to where you are. So I'm excited. And, having been to one other Hall of Fame induction ceremony before, I can't wait. The drag racing fan in me is just I want it to be tomorrow, because I can't wait to see all the inductees. It's a great time. And again, it unlocks a door to what many people don't ever get to see in the history of drag racing.
Bob Fry, Ron Tobler, others. It's going to be great. And guys, we're going to have Garlits on at some point as we get a little closer to talk about it, hopefully. And, you can still go. I believe there are tickets still available. Reach out to Chuck at the museum and tell him you heard about it on WFO if you want to see all this in person. So you mentioned the Gator Nationals coming up. Let's recap this championship season. You guys had the courage to make T-shirts prior to the start of the season. Now, in other sports, that would be a jinx or whatever. Like the opponents would get real mad about it, right? Bulletin board material. Like, can you believe these turkeys? They made shirts about 5th championship before the season started. You rolled out the nitro car. I was there at the Baby Gators. I witnessed that domination. What did you go? 531. It was amazing. We did a couple of videos. Halfway through the season, you switched. The championship was very important, of course, because of the T-shirts, and you locked it down. But kind of talk about the start of the season, breaking out that new car, and it's my opinion, and I want you to elaborate on it. As much as that car was faster, the alcohol car is more Sean Bellemeur, in my opinion. So let's start there.
Well, I want to clear up one thing first. The T-shirts. That was one guy's idea, and there's only one guy I know in this world to get away with that, and that's Tony Bartone. So we do what the boss says, and he hands us shirts, we wear them. So, from the team standpoint, we just keep our head down, try to work hard. So
Bartone shows up, or like, guys, like, how does that go? This guy's got a plane. He's flying around. They're doing FIA stuff, the road course stuff. He's got factory Mercedes. This guy's a busy guy. It's like, these are the shirts, guys. The Drive for 5 championships. These are the shirts. You're wearing these. Like, how does that work?
You pretty much nailed it. It's he calls me kid and he goes, "Hey kid, I got an idea." And he sends me this picture of an outline of a Wally, and it's the Drive for 5 kind of thing. And I just went, "Tony, as long as you let me drive your funny car, if you want me to wear pink, I don't care." And he goes, "No, I like it. It'll keep us focused." And it did. I mean, so, that's one thing for sure, is that if you're going to have that on your back all year long, you better back it up. So, no, that's, Tony has his ideas. I love them. And he's already got ideas sent out for 2026. So we'll unveil those when the time is right. But, for me personally, yeah, I love driving top alcohol funny cars, clutch, 3-speed, blown alcohol funny car. And I've been very public about how my feelings are with all that. You mentioned earlier about the Parade of Champions and all the Lucas Oil champions lining up for their turn on the stage. And I kid you not, I literally, before I rev the car up to put the bottom light on, I actually rev the motor up a little bit. I love looking out the side window so I can see all the other champions plug their ears, because that's what a blown alcohol motor is supposed to be. It's the true hot rod. You can rev it up, and you have a lot of versatility as a driver in the driver's seat. And you don't have all that with the injected nitro car. Now, the thing with the nitro car for us is this was a vision of Steve Boggs for many, many years. This is not something that, we got the rule package and decided to build one in 6 months. This has been a multi-year project, something that Steve actually made many, many changes to as the project went on, just because of his ideas. And, we'd put the car 80% together, and he'd look at something and go, no, it's not what I had in mind. And we'd take it back apart again and change it again. So the car came out probably a full solid season after it really could have, because it wasn't exactly the way Steve wanted. And, that kind of vision of his, and going back to, his knowledge of the sport and how engines work, and unblown nitro, which he has a lot of successful history in it. And the car went out right away and absolutely flew. And, as you can see, ran really, really well there. And I will admit, I was not terribly thrilled to drive the thing. I've driven nitro cars before, nostalgia dragsters and nostalgia top fuel cars, things like that. And I thought, shoot, I'm going to be bored in this thing. You put it on the high side and you wait for the finish line. That car in testing went 228 miles an hour to the 8th mile, and that flat got my attention. Front end was in the air when it did it too. So that's when, at 95% at the time, that was a hell of a ride. And so I had a little different mentality behind it. It was a lot harder to leave the starting line. So I kind of needed to shift my focus a little bit, do a better job driving the car instead of talking crap about it. And so we made some changes and got my reaction times around a little bit. And it is violent. It is torquey. I did end up really enjoy driving it. However, as the rule changes came and with the ultimate goal of winning a championship and with the competition that was out there and, with the two-step cars and some of these drivers cutting, 00 lights all the time now, we had to focus on what was going to turn on the most win lights for us. And after multiple rules changes, we decided to bring the blown car back out, which made me happier than hell. That is the car that, we ran really, really well with in 2024. I'm very, very comfortable with. I can cut better lights in more consistently. And you can do more to that car going down the racetrack as a driver to save a run. That nitro car goes out, knocks tire off, you're done. The alcohol car goes out, knocks the tire off, and you just see how long you can stand it before it tries to knock you unconscious, and you shift the thing and keep going. So, the decision was made to switch back to the alcohol car. And the one thing that happened during that whole time that really didn't get talked about a lot is it pissed Steve Boggs off. And I cannot tell you the kind of advantage that gave us. Steve is tough when it comes to just tuning a race car. When Steve puts his mind to something because he's basically doing it out of spite, the competition was in for some real trouble. So he told me after we decided to bring the blown car back out, after all those years of that thought process of doing this injected nitro project, and then essentially it having to be parked because of the rule package, Steve told me that he was going to tune the alcohol car with a mother effing sledgehammer, and I better hold on to my ass, was his exact words. So, we went out and we tried some things, and the thing really ran well. And the rest is history. But, that man, if he wants to build an injected nitro lawnmower, I'd drive it for him. He's just, the man's a wizard at anything he does. And I've learned a lot from him, and I'm excited to start the new year.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. And it is as if the competition understands, Tony Bartone, well-funded, many people have said, and you guys know the numbers. I don't need to know the numbers, but like you could be running in the big show for the budget. And I've heard you tell, like, we're getting parts that we don't need, here, get this. No, we don't need it. No, get it. So this is a well-funded team. But the reason I mention that is that the competition is rising to meet you. Like, there are other cars out there. Brian Hough was really strong down the stretch. And obviously Maddie Gordon, now her dad, is going to come back. It's really interesting to see what's happening in alcohol funny car. Maybe we don't have the volume of cars, like the sheer numbers that maybe we once did back in the day, but the cars that we've got are high quality. We'll talk about the future rules and all of that, but let's focus on some key moments down the stretch. Talk a little bit about the moments that really brought you to be your best. We see you with a cowboy hat once again, and thinking about how special Dallas is for you and the success you've had there. Highlight some rounds that made you really bring it in this championship run.
The one that sticks out for me personally was at the Indy Cletus and Cars regional event. We had just won Charlotte in the injected nitro car, and it was a very volatile time when it came to rules. And so we were talking with NHRA and trying to figure out if they were going to change rules on us, and our interpretation of it is that they were not going to change rules on us. Take the car to Indianapolis. Of course, with the team being based in New York, that's not exactly around the corner. So we take the car to Indy as an injected nitro car. I remember getting on the airplane Thursday to fly from California to Indy. And on the flight, I checked NHRA racers, see if a rule change had been done. Nope, no rule change. Okay. And then when I land in Indianapolis, a rule change happened Thursday night. And we took that personally. There was only one injected nitro car in Indianapolis, and there was only one race going on that weekend. So we took that as a rule change specifically for us. And we honestly thought it was a little bit of a low blow. And so in Indianapolis, we all got together and we decided, okay, I mean, we're here. We got to run this race. And they took more nitro from us, and we qualified middle of the pack, and we ended up winning it anyway. And that to me showed the tenacity of this race team. And this is something that you cannot purchase. This is something that you cannot teach. That team got together and we basically said, we don't care what's in front of us. And we went out and won that race. And that was the last race that we competed with it, because at that time, the rules package was just over center now. We couldn't compete with the car anymore. But that was the one that made me think, these guys are in trouble the rest of the year. We've got our blown car coming back out, which ran really, really well. You've made Steve mad. That's good for me. And now my team has a chip on their shoulder. And everybody got together and we went and won that Indy Regional. And that to me was a very, very important time in the season. And it was one of those things where we did not outperform everybody, and we just kind of lucked our way to the winner's circle. But the point was we were holding the trophy at the end of the weekend, and that was a big deal. So that one really sticks out to me. The team and I have talked about that many times, about how that seemed to be the one that really turned things around. Win at Brainerd. Brainerd is another one. In the blown car, we had struggled in Brainerd in the last couple of years. We'd actually been fighting a little bit of an electrical gremlin, and it cost us a race in Norwalk at the regional event there. And then it reared its ugly head in Brainerd again, too. And, the weather was iffy in Brainerd. And so it seemed like Brainerd was kind of where we got a few of those problems behind us. And so picking up the win there and beating some key names along the way is, it seems like Brainerd has become a very popular race. And, with the zoo and a really, really neat facility up there, the fans are incredible in Brainerd, and so everybody goes, and so it's a place kind of like Indy or Dallas where you gotta swing hard, and that's one thing that over the years of being part of this race team that I cannot say enough is first of all, there's very low turnover at Bartone Brothers Racing. Tony treats everybody very, very well. We all get along really well together. And so we look forward to going racing together, and having that lack of turnover is great, because you don't have to worry about teaching somebody new things. The personalities get along. And I got to tell you, Joe, there's a lot of races won before you ever leave the shop. And I think that's a big key to it. And, like we go to Indy, and the car ran really strong in Indy, but a mechanical problem reared its head again. And so we got beat second round. We actually fought that a couple of races. It happened in Reading right after Indy as well. And so then after Reading and heading into Charlotte, the car ran really, really well in Charlotte. We got a little bit unlucky in the final of Charlotte, and Brian got the win. And so it was like we had a little powwow after Charlotte. It was like, let's just win this thing. Let's just go. Let's win. And of course, Dallas. Dallas has a really special place in my heart. And it seems like every time we go to Dallas, there's a little extra effort put in, a little extra that we know is at stake. It's getting down to that time of year where you've got to start turning on win lights. And so this team, the Killer Bees, they tend to just rise to the occasion. And I love sitting in the car with my helmet on and everything, a couple pairs back. And I just kind of watch my team, my guys and gals, and I just look around and I watch their actions, and everybody is so calm, so collected, a little internally confident, which I love. They got a little pep in their step, and we go up and we just try to do the best we can. And, the focus is always where it needs to be. And no mistakes are made. And it's just, it's kind of like watching a symphony, and I just get to sit in the chair that nobody else will sit in, I guess. But it's really neat to watch. And in the end, we were able to put together a really solid year. And between the two engine combinations, and with Steve being as successful as we were with two completely separate engine combinations, one basically unproven, it was just awesome. And goes to show how good this team really is.
Well, we wish you, congratulations on the 5th championship. And now the 6th and 26, I think, is the new slogan, something like that.
I just hope he lets me drive it.
Yeah. Now you are the champ. So with that, I believe, and maybe other people don't believe this, but I believe it, that when someone wins a championship, it gives them a little additional cred. When you win 5, gives you a lot of cred. We've had some great conversations on here about the alcohol cars, the future, what we think, how we love it, how we understand that, there's other things, like certain people like Pro Mod and certain people like the big show cars and all of that. There are a lot of rules changes for top alcohol related categories, schedule changes, regional changes, a lot going on in the top alcohol ranks for 2026. So what I'd like to do now is talk to you a little bit about those things as we look ahead to 2026, because, I talked to the McPhillips family out at PRI. I've talked to a lot of people. I know there's a lot of rules discussions going on about those rev limiters, about the two-step, about the button, leaving with the button, the 00 lights. There's a lot of people talking about a lot of things. So what I'd like to do is just kind of like offer you the floor to talk about what you think without guiding you anywhere. What do you think about what's going on? And is it good? Is it bad? Is it sort of good? Can it be better? Like, what is your take on the direction of, we'll start out with alcohol funny car in particular, superchargers, nitro, the Del Worsham, Terry Haddock. There's a new combination. Like what do you see as the state of top alcohol funny car right now, where we are, and what do you think?
Whew, that's a lot to unpack.
Well, you're 5-time champ. This is what comes with great power. We had to get Steve on here. You want to talk about entertaining? That you'd need 2 hours. I would love that. I will take you up on that if you can make it happen. You and Steve Boggs together. We can have cocktails if you like. I would love to do it. I'm pretty sure the audience is behind it as well.
Oh yeah, no, that would be entertaining for sure. What I truly love is the NHRA's willingness to seemingly try anything. I'll give them that. They've been outside the box a couple times here. So yeah, the talk of the blown fuel cars that have basically been turned down to almost like a junior fuel type thing. Del Worsham ran one. And of course, as you mentioned, Haddock. Does it belong in top alcohol racing? I don't know that. Where does it belong? I guess I don't know that either. My only concern with that is, and any rule change, whether it be buttons or injected nitro or blown fuel or whatever it may be, is, in my opinion, and of course it affected us a lot, so I'm fairly strongly opinionated here, but in my opinion, NHRA shot themselves in the foot with the injected nitro thing last year. Mick Steele typically runs a wider schedule than he did because the rules changes affected him as much as it did anybody else with an injected car. We ultimately parked ours. So what I hope is that when a rules package is put together for a combination, is that some common sense is used when it comes to conditions, when it comes to tracks, when it comes to the number of cars there, things like that. All those things need to be taken into consideration. And case in point, when we ran the injected car at the first Las Vegas 4-wide, we actually chose to take a qualifying run, notify NHRA ahead of time. In fact, Joe, I think you and I even talked about this, and we ran an illegal nitro percentage for that one qualifying run, knowing ahead of time. We even told our competitors, I even wrote test and tune on the back window of the car, because we were trying to find a nitro percentage that would work with that set of atmospheric conditions, which Las Vegas tends to throw a little different,
altitude, right? Like your
altitude, water grains or lack thereof. The atmosphere, hot versus cold. I mean, there's a lot to it here, and a lot of things that a supercharger masks and covers up. That when you have a naturally aspirated engine, it just can't compete. So. When it was all said and done, NHRA settled on a rules package for the injected nitro combination, which obviously was very unpopular. That's why you don't really see any of those cars out there right now. When moving forward, my personal hope is that whatever they come up with, blown fuel, injected nitro, blown alcohol, buttons, no buttons, lockup converters, whatever it may be, that they give it a fair shake. And that may be detrimental to my chances of winning another championship. We'll see. What you will not see in our car is a converter. I can assure you of that, at least not with me driving it. To expand the class, we got to be able to have the ability to learn, and the only way we learn is to give it time. And so, we talked about the whole Indy thing where they changed the rule Thursday night. That was really tough because when we came from Charlotte and we set low ET in Charlotte, we ran within 100th of the same thing we ran with the blown car the year earlier, within 100th, and then they changed the rules on us. And that was kind of the final nail in the coffin for the injected thing. So the blown fuel cars, bring them on. That really doesn't scare me a whole lot as from a competition standpoint. Will it bring a lot of competitors to our class? I don't know that. I think there's some work to be done with the rules package as far as making those cars and those parts available to teams. What you don't want to do is have to spend $750,000 to build a funny car to run top alcohol that you hope to one day advance to fuel funny car. That nobody's going to do that. So hopefully they can come up with a cost-effective way to do it. There was even talk about adding nostalgia funny cars. I'm all for putting anything in the other lane that makes the class competitive. It's exciting. Being an old school top alcohol funny car guy, I'd love to tell you there's going to be 20 blown alcohol funny cars out there with clutches. That's just not the case anymore. It's not how it works. Technology advances, and so people change things. We happen to believe that the old conventional top alcohol combination is still the most advantageous way to do it. Sean Cowie won alcohol dragster with an old conventional top alcohol combination. So we feel there's still some advantages there. These other, I'm going to call them gimmicks because I don't know what else to call it. It'll be interesting to see, and of course with IHRA coming out and running everything 8th mile, I think that's going to draw some people back to NHRA racing. A lot of people don't like only running 1/8 of a mile. So I'm excited. It's going to be interesting to see where things go from here. But there's got to be the ability to have movement and try these combinations out and not make such knee-jerk reactions. If a car goes out and runs 5:08, of course something needs to be changed. But we need some time. We can't have just one race in Gainesville with the best air we've seen in 5 years to change all the rules, because that's not going to give you the full picture. So I don't envy the NHRA tech department. I even told them that last year. I don't envy you guys. But, in the interest of the class, we need what's going to draw people to build these cars is give them a fair shake and give them the opportunity to prove in all conditions what these cars can and cannot do.
So you think that in the heat of the summer, you guys would have struggled with that injected nitro car? Maybe not struggled, but you certainly would have been running 531 at 278, and that might have played into some of the other the blower cars, et cetera. Again, I like the alcohol combination, so I don't know. So is that car just parked? Like, is that or is it that project going to come alive again?
Well, there's been a couple of ideas when it comes to that car. For now, it's just parked. Obviously the number one priority for 2026 is go after a 6th world championship. And we, again, until they change rules, we feel that the blown alcohol combination is going to give us the best chance to do that. There are a couple associations out there that do kind of an outlaw fuel altered thing. I'm trying like hell to get Boggs to put an altered body on that injected car, run 100% in it. I think that would be a ride and a half. We're already running an altered combination with my dad. Yeah, there it is. My dad and I took our top alcohol funny car and turned it into an altered, and we have a lot of fun with that. So I love the open cockpit altereds. They are an absolute handful. And I told Boggs after I run that car, I match raced that car with my dad in full top alcohol trim. We went 561 with it earlier this year, racing beside Chris Marshall. He went in the 560s as well. But after I drive that car with virtually no downforce, I get back with Boggs again, and I tell Steve, I said, there is nothing you can do to scare me compared to that altered right there. It is an absolute handful. It is a blast. And so if there was something we could do with that injected car to maybe do like 100% fuel altered kind of thing, injected on nitro. And Steve smiled at that and he goes, I don't know if I'm going to be able to talk Tony into doing that, but it'd be a lot of fun. So as of right now, the car's parked. We've kicked around maybe even trying something with a blower on that car. And that's just up in the air ideas. This is no breaking news. That was over a cocktail one night. And but right now, blown alcohol, and I'm perfectly good with that because that's my one true love.
Fran Monahan wants to know how your dad is.
Fran Monahan. I haven't talked to Fran in a long, long time.
You got a lot of people out there. The Hamming Motorsports says to bring it. A lot of people, when Bellemeur comes on, that's why don't sell yourself short. 5-time champ, great communicator, well liked. People want to know what you think. It's not a negative or a positive. It's just it is what it is. So, what about your dad? How's he doing?
Yeah, old man's doing well. He's taken, all these years I thought he was a complete jerk to me. I'm kidding. But he's taken onto the grandpa role very, very well. We still run that altered and NHRA's Heritage Series in the A Fuel class. We tone it down to their rules and have had a lot of fun racing in the Heritage Series. And in fact, just won the California Hot Rod Reunion back in October. So that was a lot of fun. So my dad is still going strong, and I love learning from him. I go to the shop every weekend. We work on the car together, and I'm excited to do another full season with the altered with him too. It's absolutely a great time. My wife and kids go, and it's a true family affair. We have a lot of fun.
All right, let me put you on the spot. Buttons or no buttons? Like if you're making the rule, like I know what I would say, but I understand that it's really hard. You're the champ. You can do it. So it's like easy. Like, should we allow dunking in basketball? Well, if you can dunk, you're going to say yeah. And if you can't dunk, you're going to say no. It's that simple, right? So a lot of people are using the buttons. They're having great success. They're loving it. They're 00 on the tree. It's amazing. Some people are saying, yeah, that's, kind of an unfair advantage. It's making it too easy. What does Bellemeur say?
Bellemeur says that the car goes when you use pedals, not a button. I believe that if you want to use 2 steps, fine, line lock, whatever. I don't even know what half of them even do. But the activation to make the car go off the starting line does not belong on the steering wheel.
Okay. See, that's your opinion. And I appreciate you putting it out there. There's been a lot of discussion about it. All right. Before we let you go, let's preview 2026 and the return of a great rival. The guy who has been able to beat you is coming back. Maddie is going to Top Fuel. Doug Gordon returning, as far as I understand. I don't want to, put words in his mouth, but he's coming back to take what's his. What do you say?
Come on, Doug. What has driven me heavily over the last few years of this was my rivalry with Doug Gordon. And the last time we raced, when he was still in the car, it was actually the final round of the regional event in Las Vegas. And we had a lot of fun. And so I am jacked for it. I'm so excited. 2025 felt different. There was a lot of politics with the injected nitro stuff, and I gotta tell you, it was just a weird season. And so I'm really looking forward to wiping the slate clean. Let's go blown alcohol racing again. Let's do it. And Top Alcohol Funny Car just seems like home when Doug Gordon's in one. I had a lot of fun racing Maddie, and as expected, she did great and won races and top 3 in the country both years she drove. I mean, you knew she would, but I also caught a lot of crap for when I beat her. I beat a little girl, and then when she beat me, I got beat by a little girl, and I've had enough of that crap. So come on, Doug, let's bring it on. And we tend to bring the best out in each other, and I'm super excited for that. We've already texted, we've already talked our crap. It's full steam ahead. It's going to be a fun year.
I love it. JP Gutierrez says, get rid of the torque converters and allow clutch management. He's obviously running a car out there. What do you think of that?
Oh, if I picked up the phone and put it on speaker and told, hey, Boggs, they just gave us clutch management, he'd probably hang up and go to work, and we'd be testing in 15 minutes. So that would be a heck of a thing, and JP, I mean, that team and that family, they've tried a lot of wild stuff. And so, it's interesting, and I don't envy the alcohol dragster class either, and I know a lot of the stuff in regards to buttons and torque converters and stuff is centered around the alcohol dragster class right now. There are a lot more injected nitro cars in alcohol dragster than there are in funny car. And let's face it, it can be tough to leave the starting line in an injected nitro car. They just don't move like the clutch cars do. So when you've got a button car going 00 and running in the 880, 60 foots, that's tough for an injected nitro car to catch up to with the current rules package. So I get it. I understand why there's a lot of talk about this. It's not such a problem in funny car because the injected nitro cars aren't there, but I get it. And with JP, it's like every time they come to the track, I'm like, all right, dude, what's new? I'll even ask him. I'm like, all right, I'm waiting for him to put the front wheels on the back because he's that guy. He's got an very open mind to this stuff. Clutch management. I never would have thought of that. Hell, I thought clutch management was already in an alcohol funny car or dragster. That's what a transmission is, isn't it? But so anyway, I think that there is room for a lot of talk, a lot of discussion, a lot of combinations that can be run. To me, again, the key is we got to let them play out, though. Whatever it is, we got to let it play out so we can see what this is going to do long-term for the class, not short-term. And then we end up with another injected nitro debacle. So, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I like the I keep defaulting back to the nostalgia funny cars, that like those Legends Nitro guys had a really nice couple seasons with us. And I think the cars are super cool and they're kind of in the neighborhood of what you guys are doing. It's like, I don't know if it, it's a good idea or a bad idea, but I kind of would like to see you guys racing against them, like super sleek, modern Alky funny cars versus these old school bodies that are less aero. I think there's something there, but again, that's not my job. I am just happy and excited to be out there. Final thought, you guys were added back to the Baby Gators. Thank goodness. In the new schedule, the Baby Gators lost the alcohol cars, and I immediately protested because I think that's a premier divisional. The week after the Gator Nationals this year, you guys will be added back to that. And that whole restructuring of the regions and all of that, you guys go where you got to go to win a championship. So, I know it's about that, but are you excited to be back running at the Baby Gators?
Very much so. I love Gainesville, and I adore being down there. I love the state of Florida. I'd move there if I could. Very much so happy that the Baby Gators are back. Obviously there was a whole big thing this winter with the schedule and the loss of Maple Grove to NHRA, from NHRA. And, but a couple of things excite me. And first of all is going down to Gainesville. We've had a lot of success down there. The cars can obviously fly down there. We set both national records down there. So I really enjoy that track. I enjoy the people there. The other thing is that I love going to new places. And so the fact that we're going up to Maryland this year is really exciting for me. I love the fact that we're going to Maryland. I had been to Martin, Michigan one other time to run an 8th mile race, but that was just an 8th mile race. The fact that they're holding a national event and at a premier facility like that, I think the fans up there in Michigan deserve that. I think there's a really loyal fan base, and the fact that the big show is coming to town, I'm really super excited about that. Both of those events are circled heavily on our schedule for this year. And, it's we're very fortunate with Tony and what he puts into this race operation, because like you said, we can go wherever we need to help us win a championship. And so when we develop the schedule for a year, basically we look at the premier racing facilities and we try to go there. We do a lot of racing in Norwalk. We love Norwalk. We love the Bader family. And I joke, I said, I'd test it at Norwalk on a Tuesday night if Bader let me. I absolutely adore that facility. So we'll be going to Norwalk a couple of times. And then, of course, like you say, the Baby Gators, alcohol cars belong at the Baby Gators. And initially, when it came out that they weren't going to be at that Gainesville regional, poor Mike Rice has to listen to me a lot. And I just told Mike, I said, that's a bad idea. Some of the places that we're running regionals and you're not going to go to Gainesville, come on. Because of the schedule changes, and I was very happy to see that. So it's going to be a fun year. It's going to be unique. Again, new point structure, new schedule. I got a feeling that, Gordon and I are going to be chasing each other around the country and throw in Brian Hough and McCosh. And, the Fosters are running really well these days. It's going to be a fun season. I'm really excited, and it's not going to get any easier. That's for sure.
The Whiteleys, Phil Les, there's a lot of good cars out there. Like, that's the thing, is it's okay. Maybe we don't have like we used to, but we've got, everybody's pretty good. And so who can string it together starting at the beginning? Nitro Dave Miller says everyone's going to love Martin, Michigan. I have been there, and it's a beautiful track, and it's going to be a lot of fun right between Kalamazoo and Grand Rapids. A lot of fun things to do. We're going to have ourselves a good time. All right, final thought. What do you got to say to your fans out there? I'd like to just give you the opportunity. If there's something maybe I didn't ask you about, or there was a topic that was hot on your mind that you wanted to throw out there, this is the time to do it. If you just want to talk to your fans, that is good too. Take over.
Well, the Killer Bees are, we're back for a 6th, and I can't wait. We've got new livery coming, as Tony tends to do, new t-shirts, and, we are going to come out at Gainesville, and we're going to start our season in Gainesville and just try to be guns blazing again. And, that Steve Boggs go for the throat mentality, it will be in full effect. And I'm so excited to start the season by celebrating Steve at the Hall of Fame. And he has something to prove this year. And basically what that is I don't care what combination you have. I don't care what you throw at us rules wise. I will figure it out and make my car better than everybody else's. And like I said, from a driver standpoint, that makes it a heck of a lot of fun to be his driver. Tony is in 100%. In fact, Tony is more excited right now than I've seen him in the last few seasons. And so, we'll be going down to Daytona, to the 24 Hours of Daytona again, and cheering on Bartone Brothers Racing there. And I can't wait. I wish the season could start tomorrow, because I've actually been running my dog a little bit, trying to stay in shape and chase my kids around and throwing softballs. And I feel good. And I really want to throw the fire suit on and get back in my race car. I'm super excited.
Super excited. Yeah. Have fun at Daytona as well. Try to have a great run last year. They're going to do it again. Those guys seem interested in what you're doing. These endurance racers that run these fast Mercedes around there. Anthony's a heck of a driver, but you gave him a tour of the pits a couple of times this season, and they seem interested.
I had a great conversation with Fabian, one of the factory Mercedes drivers for Bartone Brothers Racing. And we made a night qualifying run in Las Vegas, and actually drove through the clutch a little bit, sent sparks flying everywhere, and still running pretty well. But get out the top end, and Fabian looks at me and he goes, "That was more intense than anything we've ever done." And it was just a qualifying run for us. So to introduce them to the sport of drag racing and high-end drag racing that the top alcohol classes bring, it's a lot of fun. And and on the contrary, when I went to Daytona in 2025, I had no idea what to expect, and holy cow, is that the differences in their racing equal the similarities. I was quite surprised by the similarities in thought processes and tuning and things like that. So it's neat to cross those industries and be kind of one big happy family. Is a lot of fun. I'm excited to go down there and cheer on Fabian and Anthony and the rest of the team in Daytona. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for making the time. We kept you for almost an hour. That's what happens when you're in a world championship, though. You got these responsibilities. But I agree, Sean. I'm super excited to get down there. We're going to start the season off at the International Drag Racing Hall of Fame, watching Boggs go into the hall, Steve M.F. Boggs. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to get this party started here. The 75th season of the NHRA right around the corner. Thank you for making the time for us.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. Can't wait.
Appreciate it. There he goes, your world champ, 5th time, Mr. Sean Bellemeur on WFO Radio. He says a couple of things, like everything that he says, it like sparks a thought or two in that, high level drag racing. The Alky cars come out from under the tower, and some people are like, oh yeah, they only run 270 miles an hour, right? And if you pulled 100 people out of a mall and you showed them like, hey, look at this, they would think that was the most amazing thing they'd ever seen in their life. Like, wow, this is incredible. You hear them winding up on the starting line. And we have to always think about that person that has never seen it, who doesn't understand it. If you're a veteran of the sport, you've seen everything under the sun. Maybe you don't get quite as excited for alcohol cars. Me, I always get excited for alcohol funny cars, certainly. Thank you, Sean, for coming on the show, for joining us here on WFO Radio. Guys, put your comments in the comment section. Let's hear what you have to say. I'm going to tell you about a couple of the fine folks. For instance, the folks at Larice Motorsports Insurance are on board with WFO Radio, and speaking with Holden Larice as we kind of talk about the product, where I thought I could do a good job for these guys is explaining like why it's important. You see the logos everywhere. They're sponsoring races, racer parties, all of that stuff. But why is it important? Of course, to be covered going over the road. Some person crashes into your trailer. It burns to the ground. Everything is gone. I experienced this myself with Project Pontiac. Every person that helped me with a product or helped me with some hours of labor. When I brought the car to TBM Brakes at this time last year, folks at TBM Brakes, Jim Schachter, it's like, Joe, you need better brakes on that car. You're going to be going a lot faster. You need to bring it over. We're going to put brakes on that thing. And I was super excited about it, upgrading the brakes from the factory brakes. I thought about loading it into the trailer and going across Alligator Alley with the car. What if? And the answer, what if I had to report on WFO Radio that everything that I had done had been destroyed because somebody, and did I have insurance? No. Oh, no, I didn't have insurance. And that was it. It was just gone. And I know some people could just go into their bank account and, replace it. That wasn't happening with this. And so I immediately, through my understanding of the Larice family and what they do, but now having taken the time to learn a little bit more, where are you excluded with your insurance, right? Like, do you have race fuel in your trailer? That could be an exclusion. What about on the return road? Your car's on the return road. You have insurance with someone else. What if someone drives into you? Are you covered? These are the kind of things that Larice Motorsports Insurance does differently. So I put the link in the chat, and I would enjoy if everybody goes on and checks out their website. We'll be talking about it all year long, and I'm very excited to have them on board because it's an educational process. And I feel like this is kind of an educational show. So welcome, Larice Motorsports Insurance. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll do your comments, find out what you have to say. Great job by Sean Bellemeur, laying it out. 5-time world champ here on WFO.
The number one source of friction in your engine is not what you think. Piston rings rubbing against the cylinder walls generate more friction than any other part of the engine. More friction and temperature means more wear and less horsepower. Fortunately, the team at Total Seal knows how to reduce friction and wear through innovative piston ring design. If it takes a piston, Total Seal can build a better ring.
Drag racing fans, check out Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's the free, family-friendly fantasy bracket game. Now, after final qualifying at every national event, you can fill out your bracket for all the pro classes.
It's free, easy to click on your picks. If you need some help, just hit the randomizer button to fill in the blanks. It's for fun, stay engaged, and pick your winners today.
Looking to replace your OEM diesel particulate filter or diesel oxidation catalyst? Look no further than DPF XFit, a complete line of aftermarket diesel particulate filters and diesel oxidation catalysts designed as an exact fit OEM replacement with all makes coverage for light, medium, and heavy-duty trucks. With thousands of units in stock, we ship the same or next day, and be sure to check out our comprehensive reverse OEM lookup tool. Always new, never remanufactured. For more information, be sure to visit dpfxfit.com. That's dpfxfit.com.
What a great interview, Sean Bellemeur. Super excited. Later on this week, got interviews scheduled with Justin Lamb and Darian Bosch. Going to speak with JJ Brock, our Lucas Oil champs. Guys, I think that the world of them. What they have been able to accomplish by becoming a world champ in the Lucas Oil Series is truly amazing. And here around, WFO universe, we're getting ready for Speed World Orlando, the Lucas Oil Series opener here on the East Coast, while they'll be out there at Firebird Motorsports Park the week before, starting off the NHRA 75th season, just earning some points at the divisional level in the NHRA, a huge deal. To think about becoming a world champion at the national level and the effort it takes, just truly amazing. We'll be doing that all year long, covering that story. Right now, I've got 4 races on my schedule with Project Pontiac, like I did last year. I'm going to do Speed World Orlando, then going to go work the Gator Nationals, start the season off, 75th season of NHRA, go to that International Drag Racing Hall of Fame induction ceremony. You can get your tickets, by the way. Call Chuck. But trust me, they are, limited on space. So if you really wanted to go to that, I would make a move. Bob Fry, Ron Tobler, others. Going to be great. Going to be great. And then back to Gainesville the week later for the Baby Gators. Then I'll be off for most of the year and then try to hit Rockingham. See, Rockingham, they tore up the track. They're redoing the surface. Those guys at Rockingham really investing a lot in the drag strip there. We are going to have so much fun in Rockingham, but I'm going to be up there for the double divisional at the end of the year after the Stampede is Speed. Kind of crazy thinking that far ahead, but that's how you got to do it. It's not easy. And I have learned that. Some people helping me out as I stall for time, as you guys put your comments and your topics and your thoughts in the comment section. We do have a few more minutes to spend together today on this first edition of WFO of 2026. The Ignition Show was great fun. A lot of discussion on the Ignition Show about everything. Hot topics, from NASCAR settling their lawsuit a couple of weeks ago to Ferrari's steel cylinder head project that they're working, to the University of Miami Hurricanes being involved in the Final Four of the College Football Championship. A lot of talk. If you like audio-only podcasts, check out Ignition. One of our great sponsors, HusseyPerformance.net. When I needed exhaust gaskets for Project Pontiac, David Allen swooped in and helped us out. Initially with some composite ones, and I had it's a complex story, but on one side I had what came with the headers, and on the other side I had Hussey. And there was an issue that had occurred. When I had to take them off, I realized the difference. Oh my goodness. One took me hours and hours and hours of scraping. And it was at that moment I realized HusseyPerformance.net for quality copper gaskets and composite gaskets. They're part of the NHRA contingency program. They will get them out to you next day. They're laser cut. They're made in America. They did not have to bring their manufacturing back because they never left. Go to HusseyPerformance.net. If you want to give them a call, 412-716-4872. And also, talking to Jordan Vandergriff a couple of weeks ago, immediately after he was announced as John Force's driver in the Cornwell car, knowing that Jordan's going to Frank Hawley's drag racing school, to see the picture made me feel so great about every week talking about FrankHawley.com and you guys driving a dragster, getting the experience of driving a race car. You hear Sean Bellemeur talking about the starting line and what it feels like. Maybe you're a race fan and you think, I would like to feel that. What's it feel like? You can get a version of it. Courses start at $499. We call it a course. It's really an experience, a day experience, the dragster adventure at FrankHawley.com. Tell them you heard about it on WFO. And I just want to mention the birthday boy, Marvin Rodak. Rodak's Coffee, starting off 2025. Marvin Rodak, like if you are a coffee file, one of those people who really enjoys coffee and you think you know what's good, call Marvin, 817-924-6821. Call Marvin Rodak, rodakscoffeeandgrills.com. Whether it be the hot sauces or the spice rubs or everything good, grilling tools, tips, information, but the coffee keeps you coming back. You will love Rodak's Coffee. Very good stuff. All right, let's see what you guys got to say out there. Let's see. I saw a lot of, I'll be very honest, the whole adjustment of the regional schedule and how they cobbled that together. And that's the kind of thing that I have to see it work before I fully understand it. And maybe it's just the way my brain works. There are so many things out there in the world that when they happen, we don't fully know how it's going to work out. And you'll have all these opinions and people will say, well, that's going to be terrible. And it turns out to be good. Or they'll say, that's going to be great. And it turns out to not work out. And sometimes you got to experience it. So I'm really excited to just experience things. Nitro David mentioned, what do you think about, this was for Sean. I missed this, Dave. Sorry. What do you think about Alky cars running to 1,000 foot? I really like the way it is right now, where Top Fuel and Funny Car run to 1,000 feet and everybody else runs to 1320. I have some friends that think that Top Sportsman and Top Dragster should run to 1,000 feet because they're wicked fast sportsman cars. I would not be against 1,000 feet. It wouldn't crush me. My 1090 car would become a 9-something car. It wouldn't bother me. I do prefer driving past the 8th mile if it's available. And I know that's a hot topic these days. Dragster Jeff, 5-time champ for a reason. Gotta love altered cars, certainly. JP Gutierrez, like JP, look, can we make an appointment to get you on the show? You're always very busy, right? This is me kind of joking around, but let's get the Gutierrez brothers on WFO at some point in 2026. I am looking forward to that. Well, they're great supporters. They've loved the show for a long time. You may recall in Norwalk a couple of years ago, the whole crew had WFO shirts on. It blew my mind. Like, I don't think that I have that kind of impact to anybody. But then you see a team of people that you don't know personally all wearing WFO gear. It was a heartwarming experience. And you too can purchase WFO gear available online. The link is in the chat section if you want to find it. We got all kinds of good stuff. Project Pontiac gear, the fire shirts. The most popular thing I ever did, though, was this retro Miami Hollywood Speedway shirt representing a track that no longer exists. You know, this Saturday, if you're anywhere near Pompano Beach, Florida, the Darrell Gwynn Show of Shows, the 26th year. This is a car show, but it is really a race car show. And they bring out some serious stuff, man. We've had a Nitro Funny Car fire up in what was Sheehan Pontiac, now the Sheehan Auto Group on US 1 in Pompano Beach. Darrell's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Last year, we did my dad's celebration of life there. It's really amazing. This is where the Miami Hollywood Speedway induction ceremony happens for Hall of Famers. It's really the one thing that connects the South Florida drag racing community. South of Palm Beach, north of Miami, everybody that raced at Miami Hollywood Speedway tries to come out and be a part of that. I'm very excited about it. It's something we do every year. Very excited about it. Keith says, bring on some NHRA drag racing. I'm not ready yet. I know Sean is ready yet, but I'm not ready. So I would like my axles, Project Pontiac, folks at Mosier Engineering. I sent my axles to Mosier to have some new studs put in because I was thinking about Nick Alejandre in Dallas at that divisional race. First car out, sheared the 1/2-inch studs off his axles, and his car was on the ground. I went over and talked to him, and I was like, hey, man, what happened? He told me, he was like, you know, I got these 1/2-inch studs back from the 1990s, and I guess they had enough. And when he said that, I thought, that's what I got. And so it has been my off-season project to upgrade the axles. Of course, some point in the future, maybe a fabricated 9 inches being going to be in there, but not anytime soon. Certainly. Fantastic interview with Sean. Look, Bellemeur, he's one of the greats. He's one of the greats. NHRA is unveiling their top 75 drivers of all time. Remember at the 50th anniversary, they did the 50. And now they are doing the top 75 for 75 years. This is a very big deal. I am super excited about it. And they have unveiled the first 5. And I saw some people griping about it. Craig Gaultier. Come on, Craig. You don't have to go negative immediately. My goodness. Of the first 5 released, only 20% were Lucas Oil Sportsman racers. And Craig's like, good grief. Well, wait a second. So Tony Schumacher, Robert Height, Erica Enders, who, as much as Erica is a Mission Food Series star and 6-time Pro Stock World Champion, she started off in the Lucas Oil Series, and we are not shy to tell the world about that. Andrew Hines and Peter Biondo. And so the list will continue to go. People are going to unveil each week. Any debate? Anybody want to debate me? I love easy debates to win. Let me know which one of those racers doesn't belong. Tony Schumacher clearly belongs. Like, that's the no-brainer in the history of Earth. Erica Enders clearly belongs. Robert Height, 3-time world champ. You know, Robert's done a lot of stuff lately. If you guys are interested in Robert Height, I'm conflicted because I love Robert Height. Like, I thought that whenever he would come on WFO Radio for many years, we had some of our best interviews. And, he's now off like non-drag racing, but we're pulling him back in, Robert. We're pulling you back in. 75th year. You're one of the 75 greatest drivers, without a doubt. He's got a new shotgun business, gunsmithing, his other passion. But I really would like Robert Height to continue to walk in the world of drag racing a little bit. And, I understand some people, they want to walk away completely because of whatever reason, but I don't know, man. I think we got to pull this guy back in a little bit. Robert Height, one of our 75 greatest drivers. And then, Peter Biondo, the Terminator. Come on. Like, that is a no-brainer. Like, Peter is one of the greatest racers of all time, bar none. And then Andrew Hines. Like, I think, who's got the fewest wins of that group? Oh, my gosh. Everybody is in the 40s plus. It's pretty amazing. All right, let's see. Everyone's excited about Speed World Orlando. I am. Tristan says, Happy New Year to you. Sheehan Car Show this week. Yes, the South Florida community. Unite. We will all be there. I'd like to see Altered's back with the Double B funny cars. First of all, calling it Double B funny cars. I don't know what the solution is. I know that having a 16-car field with 11 cars is not great. So there's got to be something that we can do. I know we've got a lot of really smart people out there. The purity for purity's sake, like every car is the same. I don't know, man. Those those Legends Nitro cars, I don't know. There's something there. That's all. I don't want to butt my nose into somewhere where I don't have the knowledge and experience. Like, that's it. I just don't have the knowledge and experience. Trust me, when I have knowledge and experience, I'll share my opinion. But this is where people smarter than me need to get involved. Eddie says, Happy New Year. Derail says, it was great to hear from PT14. Yeah, last night on the Ignition Show, we had our WFO Radio Fantasy NASCAR League champion, PT14, Peter Thompson, on. He won the Fantasy NASCAR League. We'll be doing the Fantasy NASCAR League again, but we're also going to be doing Drag Race Bracket Bonanza again. We will have our Drag Race Bracket Bonanza champion on before the start of the season. But yeah, we have our champions on the show. I try to be as inclusive to the audience as possible. Joe, how about that young kid I posted at Frank Hawley's school last week? I got a good feeling about him. I don't know if I saw that exact post, but yes, Frank Hawley is doing a great job training up the next generation. And, they're located in Gainesville, but the Dragster Adventure goes around the country. You can definitely check it out. So, Joe, only 24 days to go. I will be heading to Kansas for the Division 5 awards banquet in not long, like the 24th. Super excited. Warren Johnson is going to get inducted into the Hall of Fame. Gary Stinnett is doing the induction. It's going to be really fun. We're going to celebrate, all the champs, Tyler Wodarczyk, all those guys who did so well once again in D5, my adopted home division. I don't think a fuel dragster can beat many blown alcohol dragsters, 8th Mile, etc. Just thinking out loud. Dave, my buddy who I hung out with up there at US 131 a couple of years ago. That's why. But here's the deal. For every decision that is made, someone is going to spend at least $10,000. And one thing you're going to hear over and over again is me leaning on the experience of Project Pontiac. Having to spend money, a lot of money, relatively speaking, not compared to Tony Bartone, but for my friends that they go play pickleball, my hobby is a little more expensive. Like my hobby, I get to do it 4 times in a whole year. And so thinking about changing from one thing to another thing as an experiment, and then it doesn't work out, the financial resources, it's very challenging. Is Alan going to be on your show this year? Alan was on 2 weeks ago. If you missed it, Alan Reinhardt joined us on WFO. He told us about his Australia experience, all the latest projects. So I would say yes, at some point. My goal last year when Alan started doing divisional races was to catch up with him after the divisional races, do like a report. It didn't work out. Got into the treadmill of the season. I'm hoping to do that a little bit more this year. No, Keith, that is no longer true. And that's it. We're to the end of the comments. I'm fine by it. I am fine by it. Guys, the folks at Foggett, you can get it at Summit Racing Equipment. Gary Stinnett, Steve Williams. If you are racers and you want to protect, speaking of insurance, if you want to protect the inside of your engine, you go through all of this to make the cylinder surface perfect, the hone to get 1% leak down, and then you race it and you put it away. But what do you do to protect it? Now there's something you can do, and it's called Foggett. And you'll see the decals everywhere at the drag races. They're working to expand beyond drag racing into our round track friends, etc. I know Chili Bowl is coming up. Anywhere there's a surface you want to protect from microscopic corrosion and rust, the remnant of the combustion process is sulfuric acid, especially when you mix it with water. You got sulfur, and then you mix it with water, and all of a sudden you've got a very harsh situation. Protect the inside of your engine. Like, what's it look like in there right now? Imagine if it had a nice coat of Foggett on there. Real easy to do. Available at Summit Racing Equipment. Super excited to see the Summit catalog. NASCAR news. Steve Phelps is out. Yeah, I saw that email today. I really couldn't see it going in another direction after all of those private communications came out. You know, it's regardless of leadership or skill or talent or ability, when people lose confidence like that or know what you really think about them, it's kind of hard to get back into that situation. Just kind of tough. All right, guys, appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us. First WFO NHRA Nitro of the season. There is an Ignition audio-only podcast available, and that's audio only unless you're a Patreon. And for all you Patreons out there, or potential Patreons, if you join in January, we're going to send you your stickers and your patch and all that stuff immediately. That's my promise to you. Went to the post office. I always joke how I do such a poor job of that. That's true. But not in January, because I'm around before all the travel. So click subscribe on YouTube and go to that audio-only podcast. But if you want to see the video of the Ignition show, if you want to check out the Hear It From Heiner show and all the hijinks that happens behind the scenes, the VIP show, maybe join Patreon. Patreon.com/WFO Radio. Hey, Joe. Happy New Year. Who drives your truck and trailer around for you? This guy, Kenny. Remember, I drove 12 hours consecutive back and forth to South Carolina twice last year, just so I can truly understand the drag racing experience. I really do it so I can be a better announcer at the NHRA, so I can have the experience of, driving 12 straight hours. It wasn't that bad. Once you do something one time, like prior to doing it, the driving back without stopping, without shutting the truck off because the starter was broken, that was different. You got to take certain provisions, make things happen. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Go Canes Thursday night against Ole Miss. This is a chance, the U, baby. How back are we? That is the question. And I encourage you guys, go back into the archive. Jordan Vandergriff has been great. We've got some big guests scheduled for the future. Big things happening. Hopefully you'll check us out all year long. WFO.